say is good enough for government work, right? This is a song called Straighten Up, Fly Right.
Everything was on the square. The fuzzer tried to dump the monkey off his back. The monkey grabbed his neck, says, "You listen, Jack. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Ain't cool down, Papa, don't blow that top. What's the use in jiving? Ain't no use in diving. Straighten up and fly right. Say, cool down, Papa, don't blow that top." The buzzer told the monkey, "You were choking me. Won't you release your hold and I will set you free." The monkey looked the buzzer right dead in the eye. He said, "Your story's so touching, but it sounds like a lie. Won't you straighten up and fly right? Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right." I said, "Cool down, Papa, don't blow that top down." Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't blow that top. What's the use in driving? Ain't no use in diving. Straighten up and fly right. I said, "Cool down, Papa, don't blow that top." Buzzer told the monkey, "You were choking me. Won't you release your hold and I will set you free." Well, the monkey looked the buzzer right dead in the eye. He said, "Your story's so touching, but it sounds like a lie. Won't you straighten up and fly right? Straighten up and stay right there. Straighten up and fly right." I said, "Cool down, Papa, don't blow your top. Fly right."
Thank you. All right, on. Another cover coming at you.
Watching it come on, and make me feel like you are the only one. And now didn't I give you everything that a person possibly could? But you know I did. Sometimes I tell myself that I just had enough. But I'm here to tell you, baby, that I show you like it rough. I like it, you come on, and take it. Another wheel into my heart now, baby. Baby, another wheel into my heart, you got it. Oh, have another wheel into my heart now, baby. You know you got it, everything makes you feel good. Oh, yes, indeed.
Hold on in. Oh, break it. Oh, have another. Wait for it. Every now and again you get one of those gigs, you know? And I recorded it. Haha, man. Woo! That's what the clap sounds like, ladies and gentlemen. It's all right. You don't have to worry about me and my health. I am perfectly fine, even though I got the clap that time. I had a penicillin shot before the gig started, you see. I was all ready for the clap. I don't know if anyone's kicking around in the chat here yet. I don't see any numbers showing. That's okay. Sometimes YouTube reports that I'm not getting the greatest. It says that the stream isn't receiving well at the beginning of the stream, which is weird because when I look at the stream later, everything reports fine. It says health is good. I don't trust it. Call me crazy. Jump over here to the labs. You can see the stream is up. I've got Blender here all ready to go. So, if you're just joining me in the stream, my name is jamespfp. If you're just joining me and you wonder what I'm up to, tonight I have an ongoing project which involves media released by Warner Brothers back in 2013, 2014. I think it must have been 2014. Had to have been 2014, which is only a year after some of the events depicted in the very film. And in case, if you don't know why I'm particularly curious about it or why I'm going to draw attention again to it, there's a text file here that's been loaded in my Blender instance that I'm referring to. This tells me where I need to be looking and where I currently am. And this is what's going to be forming the basis of my finished video project. This is basically my script. I've already written it. I'm now going through identifying these particular points in time. Obviously, there's a difference between the file I was watching then and the file I'm watching now. So I'm trying to eliminate any chance of a content strike during the stream itself simply by not letting you hear the audio for the film. You can see the picture I'm looking for, but I don't think you need to hear the audio. So now, however, from time to time, it's the audio which is telling me where to look. It's the audio I've been referring to. It's the audio which I actually put into the time code on the text file. So I'll be probably acting out some of these scenes in the future. However, I'm doing this all in a program called Blender. Blender's free. Blender is open source software. You can find out more about Blender at blender.org. I highly recommend it as an alternative and also as a go-to tool for certain types of video work. Particularly useful for manually correcting frame rate issues. For example, if you have a phone, a video, like a camera phone, and if you take a video on the camera phone and you try to work with it in some softwares later, there'll be a mismatch between the number of frames available and the amount of audio available because of the frame rates. If you want to correct that, Blender is the type of tool which will allow you to easily correct that to your own specifications and then be able to work with it somewhere else, or indeed you can use Blender as a nonlinear editor, which I often do, and you can see in other places of the stream. Tonight I'm going through this piece of media, referring to my own notes, getting the required stills. I'm only taking still shots from the film. There are a couple places where there's sequences I might want to be taking stills from, and then I'll be building like an animated sequence of shots. I say animated, I mean they'll be strobing on the screen one after the other at a certain frame rate. It'll be, 10 frames per frame or something, or maybe even a full second per frame. And I'm using Blender to do this work, this prep work, before getting ready to do it also in Blender to finish the work. The one thing I won't have done will be to have recorded the audio for the script. I might even be able to do that from the stream here, download the stream later and cut the audio from it. I don't know. We'll see. Someone asked me actually recently, can you record audio directly to Blender? And to be quite honest, the one thing Blender doesn't do terribly well is audio. Oh, it'll handle it, but it doesn't do multi-tracking recording well, or at least I've never seen it done well. Doing the audio work, like specific or technical audio work on something, I'd use another program first and bring it into Blender when it was done. Often though, I don't need to go any further than Blender. I could take a video file from my phone, for example, from my camera phone, that I only need the audio for, and quickly drop it in Blender, delete the video footage that I don't need, and maintain the audio record. From that audio record, I get the audio that I require for the final project. And so it gets re-rendered as its separate audio file to that one. It's non-destructive. I've managed to get myself up through the first 100 still frames, plus there was a bunch of other ones. I'm trying to get through the entirety tonight so that I can maybe even get the basics down for how to do the entire thing. Because I've got to add these back on again after the fact. Some of them being single shots that'll hold for as long as it takes me to deliver a line. Some of them will be for other periods of time. Some of them will be sequences, as I said, so they'll be strobing along for a period of time, just so you get the idea for over a long period of time that it's a series of shots, all related, and they're all the one issue, starting here. Next one, 102. The trick I've been using to keep the two different versions in mind here is that I take about a minute off of this time code in this time. So I need to be about here. 114, hey buddy. It's where he starts talking to Kyle's kid. Right there. Hey buddy. So F3, I've been saving them to a renders folder right here. I can explicitly show you that all of the names are in here. If I hit the last one, I can get practically all the information I need for this time code. That saves that one. I go to the next one. I don't have to worry about explaining myself right now. I'm trying to get through the work of this, and because we're not listening to anything, I could put some music or something in the background maybe. But I do want to listen to I need to use my own ears on this to figure out where I'm supposed to be looking. 103, okay, I got to add 30 seconds, it says. Refuses to salute a vet. He refuses to salute a vet. Interesting moment. It was 30, was it? Reasons why American Sniper was not getting any Oscars. It's at the beginning of the file. I should probably read that before we go any further here. I'll maintain my a numbered list of reasons is the name of this document. Why American Sniper didn't deserve any Oscars. February 23rd, 2015, Published at 3:33 p.m. I'd worked on it actually before that day, so I was ready to publish it on Facebook that afternoon. And here's my rationale at the top of it. It's a Facebook note that I published. I've been sitting on this list for over a month, waiting to read the list of Oscar winners this morning. And then I started seeing posts on Facebook about how the film was robbed. So please, to my dear friends and anyone else who cares to read, here is a labor of love that took hours to type out and edit, unlike the fucking travesty that is the screenplay. By the way, when I did up this list, I was most impressed that I apparently shot up the script more times than Kyle had kills in Iraq. Opening titles use the Muslim calling the faithful to prayer with Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, okay. In order to create false tension. Right? That's the reason I think that there's a minute difference between my idea there and actuality. It might be because there was up to a minute of dark at the last copy I saw. Okay, immediately after. Refuses to salute a vet. Come down to VA sometime there, Kyle. Grab your lizard up there. He says that while he's... Grab your little lizard up there. Okay, here we go. Interesting line that was delivered while that shot is off screen, but then right after, well, grab your little lizard. Hey, ooh, I'm not going to copy that. Here comes the next one. It's hot on this heels, but 20 seconds downrange. All right, let's go meet your sister. That's actually delivered in ADR kind of thing. Put in after the fact. Let's go meet your sister. Kind of actually sounds like it was in the hallway of the. Sounds like this cut starts in the hallway of the hospital, which immediately follows. Let's go meet your sister. So I'm just gonna. I'll leave the cut here to indicate it is very artful. Numbered list of reasons why American Sniper did not deserve any Oscars. Ladies and gentlemen, if you might be joining me for the first time, my name is James PFP. This is Pitchforks and Flaming Torches, the Banjocast. Getting up in numbers because I sometimes do 2 a day and I sometimes manage to find a way to get the numbering to fall on the right time. Happened today. Happy Fours Day. Fours Day is a good day of the week. Very good day. Fives Day, tomorrow, even better. Even better. What's the next one? It's at 1:15, so it's right here. Only shot of actual newborns in the film. Yeah, I wonder about that one. Let's go back a little bit, huh? Only shot of actual newborns in the film is my contention. Hey, what was that there in the window? Over here. Is that someone on the other side of the... Someone on the reverse angle of the shot is actually dressed in a doctor's, but they never got pictured at all? They never got actually brought into the... Wow. Only shot of actual newborns in the film, yes or no? I actually don't see anything. We hear the sounds, but the only shot of actual newborns in the film, yes or no? Where were we? 1:15. Only shot of actual newborns in the film. They're not there in the shot. That could be a doll. Doll there. A couple there behind him. Could also be dolls. She's got the doll, right? Only shot of actual newborns. Passes. I think that could actually be a newborns. I mean, they would have only needed to do, you know, shoot it from behind bulletproof glass. There's no way that they're going to let an actor near a newborn. I'm not kidding, but I am kidding. Hey, the next one, 107, 50 seconds later. Breastfeeding doll. Well, look at this. More newborns here. Wow, newborn almost naked there. Oof. Crazy. Tend to my daughter, please. Hey! Breastfeeding doll. Yeah. You see how drunk she got early on in the movie? There's no way they're letting her breastfeed now. Breastfeeding doll, ladies and gentlemen. Hand moves, but making memories with myself. I have no one to share them with. A minute and 20 odd seconds later. 1:16:23. Coming up. If the previous shot wasn't a doll, it for damn sure is one now. Right here. Reasons why, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't getting any Oscars. 109. We're looking for 17. Is coming up pretty close. Could also scrub this way. I'm going to hold Alt and roll my mouse wheel. If I roll forward or down, it works a bit better. I can scrub this way. Looking for 117. You can only circle the flame so long is the scene. Anybody in chat tonight? Not seeing anybody yet. You can only circle the flame so long. You can only circle the flame so long. Hey, I guarantee you that's a doll. Why do I know it's a doll? Just finished breastfeeding. I mean, just finished feeding. And granted, breastfeeding probably doesn't need to be burped as much. But, hey, 10, tour number 3, 40 seconds. We're looking right about there. This is 110 we're at. Bam. 110, 118.40. Next one, 11. Mustafa has peepers. Because he's Kaiser fucking Soze, bro. 119.49, so that would be 118.49. It's up around about there. Mustafa's got his peepers out. Reasons why it wasn't winning any Oscars. 119.49. This motherfucker is Kaiser fucking Soze, bro. Thanks. Kaiser Soze, huh? Yeah, I wasn't winning any Oscars. That's not how you win an Oscar. That's not how you sell reality. 112. 120. 30. So it's 119.30. Mustafa as a child and a picture on the wall of Olympic medal ceremony. 109, 120.30, yeah. Let's get the Olympic ceremony pick first. This is going to be one that has more than one in the sequence. We'll start at 120. Oh, 120.30 it was. I can close this window. I'll skip ahead 10 frames at a time because I know I'm looking for something else in this next shot. Uh, 120.55 is the next one. It's coming up in the next series of seconds. So I'm looking, so maybe I'm going to be taking another one here, maybe I won't. Team gets ambushed prior to being ambushed. So that's one, should be right about here. $120.55. I thought I was going to do a sequence on that last one, but I didn't. 114 at 120.20. Punisher logo on body armor. $114. Well done, Marvel. Well done. Just look at that. They allowed that property to come up for such prominent use. How big of them? 115. Speaking of biggles, 121.10. Right about here. Gets it by a ricochet. Off his own guns in the book. But there's the ricochet shot. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Well, I'll be damned. Back and to the left. 112.10, 122.10, right? I think I should do a frame by frame here. Really do. This would be B. And this one would be C. And the next one, likewise. Similarly, E there. We'll only go as far as E. I'll stretch those out. I'll make them last. Uh, 50. Biggles had the ring. Okay, Bubba. Hey, I didn't go far enough. Oh, it's up here. It's up here. Because he walked right out of there, hey? Ooh, jeez. Hey, Chris, make sure she gets this. Hey, Chris, make sure she gets that ring. There's as good as anywhere. Hey, Chris, make sure she gets that ring. 123.50. $124, so it's 123 my time, 20. Right about there. Here it comes. Only one enemy sniper could have made that shot. Yeah. What if they use more than one? What if they use more than one, Kyle? Huh? What do you say to that? I've been working on my not my Imperial Stormtrooper impression. I've been working on my Sand People impression. I'm not even kidding. The time is now to the next time you're in a movie theater and there's a desert scene being in the background and you see people traveling across, maybe in a Jeep, maybe it's in World War I or II, I don't know. They're traveling across the landscape. There's people on camels, there's people on horses. There's all these people. This is at the moment in the theater when you have to stand up and go, that's when you have to do that and then start going. The things on the screen. Just make the sounds yourself. I guarantee you everybody will laugh. Lex Talionis. 124. 123.55. Here we go. Lex Talionis. Dude who says Lex Talionis. Right here. Reason why this wasn't winning any Oscars. He says that, and then the camera cuts to him. That's who said it. We don't actually see him say it. Ever. $119. We're looking for 124.3. Wow, it's right here. Like I was right on top of it. We're going back out. Reasons why it wasn't in any Oscars. Here we go. 119. Holy shit. Holy shit, Willis. 120, 125.22. We're looking at, yeah, just a little bit in the future. On the way to the ambush. They get ambushed. You could have gone to piss if you didn't get... When the first time they got ambushed on the way to the ambush, you should have gone to piss, so that when you come back now, some minutes later, on the way to the ambush, they'll get ambushed, and it'll be like you missed nothing. So that's right now, I think. This is on the way to the ambush. On the way to the ambush. Hey, you guys on the way to the ambush too? You on a carpool? 125.22. Why not? We did last week. Hey, Charlie, you got your white helmet there. 125.31. This is an exact moment. You look at him come. On the way to the ambush. Guess what? Oh, wow, he got a shot off. He missed. On the way to the ambush. On the way to the ambush. On the way to the ambush. We're going frame by frame here. Oh, there it is. $121. A minute later, just about a minute later, right about here. Tension sequence with a jump scare ending. Tension sequence with a jump scare ending. I don't suppose this looks familiar, does it? 122, 126, 15. Tension sequence with a jump scare ending. I'm not even going to show the sequence because it's not worth doing it. Here comes Mark Lee's turn. 126.50. 126.50. Hey, Mark. That's Mark. Looks like someone left in a hurry, Mark. You don't go any faster than this. Here we go. $126.50. That's that one. 24, 125 or 126.41. Kyle did return. Mark's gone, bro. There's a plane there. I don't know if you can see the plane. Ah, I got an idea. Here we go. Let's catch the strobe light. Yeah, this would be good enough. 124. 127.41. Hey, 10 seconds later, a letter. The letter's already being read as we watch this. this letter isn't quite read. She reads it funny. She reads it like she hasn't read it before, or that the emotion of reading it is too great. I don't know whether or not Mark Lee's letter is available, but I think I might try to read it out. Lee's mother reading a letter purportedly sent by Lee. Rather than actually read it through, she chokes up. Thanks, Clint. 126, or 26, 126. We're looking for 127.25. Hey, right about here. Melodramatic reactions to rifle fire. Detail, yo. 10 hook. Watch her. Watch Taya. Yeah, you jump up, not down and forward, baby. If you're going to jump that way, go to the ground, okay? Shit. Did it again. Skipped on ahead of myself. 128. Right about there. It's at about 30 frames a second here. So yeah, I need to look for some of these reactions here. Maybe I just missed it. Still has smoke in the air. She shuts her eyes first, then she moves back. Back and to the left. $120, what is it? 128.25. 128.25. Now, if you think I'm going out of my way here for American Sniper, you ain't seen nothing yet. I've been sitting on an analysis of another movie for a long time. A really important movie. I think it's important. Ties in directly to the whole Kennedy thing. I've been sitting on it because I've got a funny way of looking at it. All the information is out there. It isn't even conspiracy theories type stuff anymore. This theory needs to be talked about. But I digress. Which one was that? 126, was it? I got to double check my numbers because I need to know. 126, indeed. Uh, 27 is 127. It's going to be at 2840. I'll go back about 5 seconds. Aggressive driving at home where you don't get ambushed on the way to the ambush. Aggressive driving at home on where you don't get ambushed on the way to the ambush. Aggressive driving on the way home. Taya explicitly asked for Kyle's opinion here at the 129 mark. I'm going to let this play through a little bit. She does this entire question like that. Wasn't winning the Oscars. Chris, I want to know what you thought. I want to know what you thought of his letter. Oh, 29, visiting Biggles. 129.34. Right about there. $130.44. 30. 130.15. A continuation of an earlier joke. Because the joke wasn't funny enough the first time, they're going to continue on with the joke as if nothing had happened. That's the whole idea of being strong and masculine. Why wasn't winning any awards? 31. 131.30. 130.30. Right here. That's his shit-eating grin. She wouldn't leave me, bro. 131.30. Uh, 20 seconds later, right about here. That's his aw shucks tweren't nothing, marm. That's his aw shucks tweren't nothing, marm pose. Comes with what you see here and what you can't get back. Next one. It's 132, so hey, it's right here. Sadr City is explicitly named, which is according to the book near Fallujah, but avoids the time Kyle spent two other cities first. Setting up the last scene of the movie, in fact, by saying where the last scene is going to be taking place, as if telling us the name of this place means anything. Don't make no sense. Don't make none at all. 34, 132.10. Oh wow, it's right here. Payback in the book. Payback. He starts talking about payback, that's his reaction. As admirable as it might be for the wounded guy to advise caution, he ain't gonna win you any Oscars. Uh, 131.25 is just around the corner here. Hoo-yah, legend. Fucking hoo-yah. Sorry. 135. I wonder what was going to happen. Carl did have a depressed or fatalistic side. Sorry. His face. I'm sorry. Movie drops the Kyle had a planned pretense at this point because no one to brain bought it in the first place. 136 at 132. I had to serve my country. He kind of looks like Robin Williams from time to time, doesn't he? He's got this perpetual, I'm Robin Williams, and I'm not going to overact at all. I'm Robin Williams who never found a Coke line, bump, any of kind, you know. Got to serve my country. Thank you. 136. 133.00. Hey, 137 is in 25 seconds. Wasn't winning any Oscars. I might have mentioned this. I Need You Here. I need you to be human again. You never stop being human, Taya. I need you here. You don't look like he's there. He's got that stare, you know. $138, $132.50. Hey, should be around about here. Come here. Let's go with that one. This would be 50. You can see that the spacing between these moments is fairly fast and furious. I'm not saying anything about Clint Eastwood's abilities as a director or anything else. I think he can only work with what he's given. But wow. 133.05. Tour number 4. Sadder City. There must be 200 of them. Can't be 3. No way. Next one. It's in 40 seconds time. It's right on about here. He's figuring out there that Chris doesn't know that Biggles is already dead. Not a terrible acting job, but we get all of the reaction of the other actor to sell a shitty Chris Kyle. Next one, 141. I'm not going to dwell on these two terribly much. 134.30. Say around about here. RPG wielding man. Need them both. Here we go. RPG wielding man plus kid who's going to be important. Focused on a kid first, of course. Kid's important. $142 at 136 or 135. 50. Oh, I gotta go here. 136.05. It's right here. Memorable Iraqi kid. A Hollywood talent agency joke coming here. Memorable Iraqi kid. This is 142, 36.05. $43, 136.50. What's this, like blue balls or something? What's this, like blue balls or something? If he crossed his eyes a little, it might have been funnier. On 36.51. $137.20. T-wall operation. Head shit, believe this T-wall here. Introduction to the T-wall operation. $36.30. Here's Mustafa. Ten seconds later, he can be whoever the fuck he need him to be. The sniper who killed our fucking friend Biggles, man. The one we used to fuck with all the time. You can be who the fuck you need him to be. 146. Wow, this is like hot and heavy here. Every 10 frames. 138.08 is 137.08. Armored vehicles, Army, were as depicted. These. Oh, 08. Next one, 48, sorry, Predator drone. 138.20. So it's these and these. Product placement. Not going to win any Oscars that way, boys. $49, $41.02. Wow, we're going to jump ahead a little bit here. $140.02. Must be right about there. Streets are crawling, hold your fire. This dude. It never, the next one's 140.36. It's right around the corner here. It never, but never pays to pick red shirt when you enlist. T-wall operation. 141.36. Yeah, it's him. It never, but never pays to pick red shirt when you enlist. Wow. Ragdoll, man. Look at this. He goes back and kind of to the, no, to the right. Oh, wow. Wow, can you see the wire on him? Still wearing a safety wire and everything. You know, like it would normally have to do. This would be a B shot. $151.42 is which 41.15. 41.15. Jock face noob here. Doesn't matter. It's essentially two pictures in the same. Doesn't matter. 142. The guy just got killed right in front of him. Doesn't matter. 142.55. Kyle's shooting contest is coming up here now. 1,900 yards. Yeah, here we go. 152, 142.55. And then 53, bare seconds later. I mean, correction. You can't even see that far out. Correction. It's no bueno. It's no bueno. 143.04. So what was the good of having that little exchange if they were going to argue about how far it was? 143.18. Say right about here. Surprise reversal in opinions, and he's definitely going to shoot sometime. If you got it, take it, man. This kid is standing in for somebody, I would submit to you. Oh, seconds later, aim small, miss small. Right here. Could have called a movie that, but they didn't. It's product placement, yep. Whoa, 56 at 44. Hell, we're right there. Add artificial tension, guilt, and recrimination to taste, and pepper liberally with insurgents. Remember to keep a running tally of everybody you kill. You just fucked this legend. There's the fuck right there. You just fucked this legend. 145. And 19. We're fucked like a... You just fucked this legend is the first thing he says. 20 seconds later. 20 seconds later. Next time he's on the friggin'... Now we're fucked like a football bat. Now we're fucked like a football. What the hell are you saying, Lieutenant? This guy who is on screen here, he's actually, I forget his name. forget his name because he's an actor, right? He's an actor who was in The Mentalist. He was in The Mentalist pretty much from start to finish, although in the last couple seasons they wrote him a bit part as opposed to a full part, and gave him and one other character, one of the other actresses, a way out at the same moment in time. But either way, he's not that big a property for them to be spending so much dramatic tension on him. And he ain't gonna win an Oscar. You might have been looking for an Oscar nod, Best Supporting, I don't know. Get Some Motherfuckers is really soon. 1:45:20, right about here. Get some, motherfucker. Right here. 58 at 46:23. Here comes the next one at 46:15. So it's just a little bit in advance of the last one. About a minute later. That's the dumb noobs. Look at the dumb noobs. $159. 159.47. 15. Dumb noobs. Never rush lower level with heavily armed spec ops above you. Some idiot in that group probably had the bomb. Fucking idiot. Look. Wasn't winning any Oscars. Hey Chad, I don't know if there's anybody in the chat here this evening or if there's anybody watching. My name's James PFP. I'm doing a little bit of work here for a video project. I'm doing it in Blender. I've got my script in a window here on one side that I'm referring to find all the source material I need. I'm avoiding letting you hear the audio so I don't get hit with a content strike. And I'm looking for still shots from the movie American Sniper in a numbered list of reasons why it did not deserve any Oscars. We're up to 160. 160 Sandstorm from Nowhere. This is going to be right about here. Here it is. Sandstorm from Nowhere. Don't stop fucking shooting, man. I just breezed right past the other one. Sandstorm from Nowhere. Is looking for anything that would work for that. Actually, right here would do. Like there. Kind of get the sense of it. Sandstorm from Nowhere, and he's the one recognizing. Holy shit, you guys are going to get hit with a sandstorm. Oh, you better hunker down. Don't stop fucking shooting, man. I'm down to 2 mags. I'm nearly out. Don't stop fucking shooting, man. I got a really funny line for that one. It's my favorite line. Don't stop fucking shooting, man. ad-libbed by the actor on the spot, on set. He claimed Eastwood inspired him with his direction. And a Colt 45. .62 is 147.57. It's hot on this. Oscar goes to the most head-up tactical genius in military history, knows that Wi-Fi, that the fastest 20 minutes out rescue convoy is now only 3 blocks away. 2 minutes later, and it goes to. Yeah, it's this guy. $162. "30 seconds later, they call for an airdrop in a sandstorm. Call for an airdrop in a sandstorm. Here we go. Like I say, he gets a lot of action in this last part of the movie. It's like they told him, you're going to be the anchor in the last half hour. Or maybe they did reshoots and they went through a whole shitload of people until they finally found the one that fit the right profile. They call for an airdrop in a sandstorm because visual effects budget, and fuck it, the book isn't enough like Black Hawk Down or The Mummy. The book isn't. 148.28. The way he says niner. Right here. Niner. Look how still his nose is while the rest of his face, chin, and helmet moves. Jock face newbie is what I call him. Here we go. Reasons why it wasn't winning any Oscars. I'm not kidding. Jock face noob, right? Jock face has been in the shit too long. You can hear it in his voice, the way he says niner, but his jerk back to camera is hardly wasted. Thousand Yard Stare is next. Then he's going to find a bottle of wild turkey and get plastered. Jerk back to camera. Hey, John Townley, how you doing? I'm here working on this project of mine. A little bit of analysis in the media. Something other than news for once. So this is what we're doing here. 1,000 yards. I'm gonna have to add this as a secondary shot to the last one. B. $65. So Kyle calls Taya. Because fuck it, consistency. Here's the airstrike. Here's the storm. So Kyle calls Taya in the middle of a firefight. 148.50. And how are you finding things, John? I might wonder. You're over in Britain, right? If I remember right. Londoner. It's been interesting as hell over in this end of the pond, I'm going to tell you. It doesn't stop getting interesting, but whoa, craziness. A lot of people paying attention to things they never paid attention to before. Like, for example, I could think about something to mention just in passing. I don't know how many executive orders Obama must have signed that never ever saw the light of day. Kind of like a Kennedy thing where there's a bunch of them that are kept secret and put away for a bunch of years until they're finally released. Obama is going to have a lot of those. Trump, when he signs one, is quite happy to talk about it. Nope. Denver, Colorado. Hey, John. Cool. I had you mixed up. So yeah, the difference between Obama and Trump when it comes to executive orders, huh? I'm wondering when it's going to start echoing up here in my end of North America. I really do. But imagine it's actually fairly common across Canada, depending on how populated your region is, where there's a fair degree of anti-Trump backlash because of the mainstream, but the mainstream's finally been caught out. So I figured it's a real good time for me to do this. Speaking of real good time, oh, he thinks he's dead. I'm ready to come home. He's in the middle of a firefight. You can't exactly get up and leave. It's funny seeing this one. I don't really buy it. I don't think it's going to win you an Oscar. Because the telephone. Fire away. That's the next thing. Fire away. There it is. So the order is here. He says, turn it loose. And then this guy, off screen, because we're hearing it from the point of view of the pilots in the chopper, he says, fire away. That's interesting, isn't it? To have an order not passed down the line properly. Or at least you'd think if someone orders something directly with one set of words, turn it loose, fire away, open fire, I don't know what. $150.07. Green side clear for exit. 20 minutes out, 5 minutes flat. Here we go. This is 168. Story goes like this, John. I have a friend here I knew in Canada. This is many, many years ago. I was still in high school when me and her met. Some years later, she moved to the United States, met a man, married him. We ended up friends on Facebook anyway. Many years later. That's how we relinked. And when we relinked, one of the things we discovered was that some of our beliefs patterns had changed. Like my beliefs had changed, her beliefs had changed. Didn't much matter that terribly much. We were living so far apart, it didn't matter. The thing that really put a wedge between us was American Sniper. I can't understand how she could feel that way toward it, not being really American. She's from Canada. She's not really from, it's a long story, but not really being American, she buys into it implicitly because of religious faith in a way that I cannot. And it matters more to her because of it. Anyway, she seemed to think that American Sniper was robbed of Oscars, that it didn't get any Oscars that it deserved. And I'm like, oh, there's a lot of reasons why it didn't really deserve an Oscar. I put up a list right away, published it as a note, published it for anyone to see, not just for her. And I haven't made anything of it since, but I'm ready to make something of it now. So I'm doing so in Blender. And the Oscar for the luckiest frag grenade in Iraq. It's coming up. 140. Oscar for the luckiest frag grenade in Iraq. Here it is. The Oscar for the luckiest frag grenade in Iraq. Oh, 30 odd seconds later. Not the circumstances in which Kyle took a round. Oh, it's at 50:29, somewhere around here. Oh yeah, it was an interesting movie. I'm going to ask you another question, John. Did you read the book? Because if I had not read the book, I would not have written this list. But it's important that the movie, don't trust anything you see in the movie. None of it, absolutely none of it is trustworthy. Read the book and then ask the question, why was the movie made at all? One of the two lies more than the other, and I'm not sure it's the movie. If it weren't for American Sniper, the book, Jesse Ventura might have been able to run for president last time. And for some reason, in 2012, 2013, 2014, the move against Ventura occurs through the drama with the book. And furthermore, in the book, Chris Kyle himself records, is not in this movie, that when he signed up, volunteered, he asked for an intelligence job. And then there's a humming and a ha. Well, I ended up in Navy SEALs. I think he still had an intelligence job. And I'll be proven wrong if anyone can prove me wrong. But until someone proves me wrong, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think Kyle had an intelligence job all along. It includes why the book was written. And it possibly means he's still alive, but his name was a cover name in the same way that his war name, his in theater name, was a cover name. Anyhow, that's my entirety of thinking. The book is real interesting to compare against. So what am I looking for here? Not the circumstances in which Kyle takes a round in the back. It should be right about here. Here we go. That's the round. The fact that he signed up and asked for an intelligence job, that is absolutely too much for me to pass up, to ignore. That's what says. That's what said, and I explained everything to me. This person has problem communicating when he comes home. He has a hard time getting past the adrenaline rush of it, or whatever else you want to call it. If it's PTSD or if it's this or it's that, whatever the reason, he develops this. He develops a persona, which already had a persona, if you want to call him a legend or anything else. And so, funny that the movie established his name as Legend. Isn't a legendary figure didn't necessarily exist at all, right? Uh, 171, not in the book. Left the rifle on the roof, not in the streets. $152.10. Oh, I just recorded the wrong one there for 70. $150.29. Oh, I did get the right one, so $151.10. Stop the goddamn rig. Here we go. There's the gun. 171. 52.10. The curious connection really is Jesse Ventura. What possible reason did he have to lie about Ventura? Ventura cared enough about it to take him to court, and then it cost him a chance to go for president. Nobody in the media will talk to Ventura, according to Ventura. Nobody. They don't want to. And if you haven't seen his latest Russia Today, World According to Jesse, I would suggest you look at it. The one with Jimmy Dore. Because he gets into his frustrations with how he can deal with the media or what they will or won't let him say. $52.55, so it's coming up right about here. Not in the book. Let's see. Any second now. Oh, this is not in the book. Can't trust anything the media says. Well, you shouldn't trust it implicitly, but I mean, you could make an argument too. You never could trust anything the media says. The particular problem right now is that the media doesn't want to even fact check itself. That's really problematic. Or they know, they're well aware that the thing that they're delivering with authority is in fact nowhere near true, but because of let's everyone maintain the same line. So when all these various supposedly competing outlets all have the same crap, that's a problem. Fox News has been getting a lot of faith back in terms of the public, merely because it tells its biased version. And it's not always in lockstep. Sometimes it is in lockstep, though. Even Fox is part of the mainstream. You can't get away from it. He's drinking at a bar. Maybe he was at an earlier part. Anyway, 152. 151. Hang on here. 151.50. Make sure I got this right. Because I need to get to 73 next, and geez, we're almost done. Fox is not much better, I agree. But at least Fox is not going to lie about everything. Not in the same way. So you can't ignore it anymore. You really cannot ignore it. Try the two extremes against one another, and if anything is left over after the two have been introduced, that's something close to the truth, if only what's remaining in the dust and the rubble. Ridiculous, man. In the meantime, I'm going to have to continually say this. I can't get over the feeling Trump is a part of the deal which stops someone like Jesse Ventura from running. Or maybe to put it another way, because Ventura was prevented, Trump was like the last logical alternative. Maybe that's another way of looking at it. Because the only one I could see even trying to take him on for the kind of voting blocks that he went for, the only other person could have probably done it is Trump. It's ridiculous, but it's the truth. Bernie couldn't have. If Bernie had gone up against Ventura, Ventura would have landslided. He would have won by a landslide. He would have wanted almost the exact same things as Bernie in some ways. But he's a libertarian. 152.50. Way to hell up here. Genuine surprise. Last thing he said to her in the middle of the firefight, he's ready to come home. You're home? I have liked a lot of things he said before. As time has gone on and I've listened to more of it, if you can get past his manner of delivering it, he's a real smart guy. Seems to be. He's real proud. Sometimes he'll speak frankly of the things that he did when he was a governor. One of the things he says that he did, this was Minnesota, right? He was governor of Minnesota. Apparently, one of the rules in Minnesota that he helped establish was if you have a blood alcohol content above 0, then your concealed and carry permit isn't the same as what it would be. You can't get drunk and expect to get away with murder because of a concealed and carry permit, essentially. That's an interesting thought, and here he is a libertarian. That's a real interesting thought, though. And he's not governor anymore. He didn't survive doing things like that. But hey, that's a smart friggin' rule. If you want to stop murder in the second degree, that's a hell of a way to do it. Genuine surprise. That's me being sarcastic. 173. 53.50. These two are not great together, and they don't have a lot of the movie together anyway. But reasons why they weren't going to win any Oscars, yeah, this might be part of the reason. Book explains that when the fourth tour ended, Kyle was promoted to chief, but didn't last long in the position. He's crying there. I'm coming home. Difficult scene. He had to tear jerk himself this one. No fluffers for tears, right? $75, $154. Big boy and little girl. That's enough. I don't know if we're going to get a reverse shot of here. 155.00. Might want to actually pan through her a little bit. And then in the same moment in time, 76. Oh, he's not playing a video game? Because in the background you can hear what sounds like gunfire. And then at 32, they're here. So here's 76 as well. And I'll give an extra 10 seconds. Oof. Next one, about 20 seconds later, they're here. I gotta actually check this out. Yes. They're here. Here we go. This will make sense in a second, I think. There here is this shot because the next shot takes us back to the last angle we had. Chris staring at the dark screen. Oscar material? I think not. Here we go. This is too funny. 154.42. It's coming up right here. They're in the backyard. Look at you. Here we go. 179. 53. No, 42. Sorry, 42. 155, 42, 79. Gotcha. I'll read this one to you. Lazy screenwriters should be taken out behind the hovels wherein they reside, the filthy, broken down flophouse hovels that they are, and summarily beaten to death with a Nerf bat for writing "Look at You" in a screenplay. But that's exactly what she says to him when she's touching him. Look at you, look at you. 155.53, several seconds later. You know, he's the tallest kid on the team. That's our son. $155.53. There's a lot of scenes. There's a lot of quick shit in the last end of the movie, the last part. We're getting down there now. You ain't got far to go. Woohoo! Wow, get me through, get me through. $81, 56, 10, 55, 10. Yeah, the daughter is losing teeth she only got last week. Here we go. Great shot. 181. 156. 10. Yeah, the daughter is losing teeth she only got last week. Afraid she's swallowing it is the least of her troubles. As long as the audience keeps swallowing the film. And why do I say swallowing? Ken is going to lose that tooth, and I'm still worried she's going to swallow it. Like in her sweep or something. $82. Philosophy malfunction. 82 is 155, 26. Here we go. Good scene. Philosophy malfunction. 156, 27. You hear the backup signals outside tonight? Wow, lots of stuff happening. Is Carl still a sheepdog if he stops a sheepdog by beating it to death? Or is it safe to assert that he is now a wolf and has been one all along? We can watch what happens. He's got a belt in his hand. Remove his belt, not in the book. Yeah, let's make sure we get the belt. Here we go. Nice shot of the belt. 183, 50, same moment in time, really. Removes belt, not in the book. Funny, that didn't make the book. Awkward, Kyle. The book makes it very clear. Awkward. $184, 56, 40. Chris! Kid's still swinging in the back. He's like, who gives a shit? $85, 56, 55. Kyle did see medical scientific folk for a long-term mental issues. But the doctor in this next scene is meant for us, not for Kyle. You know, I got a very interesting phone call. So the doctor in this scene is for us, not for Kyle. Another reason why it did not win any awards. Look at him smiling. $157. Ever seen or done things you wish you hadn't done? $157.40, right about here. Look at his hands. $157.40. Here we go. That's actually a really good B shot. I might get a C shot of this too. Let's look for it. That's the C shot. Let's look for the D shot. There's the D shot. This is all within 1 second. Let's look for an E shot. There, we'll basically do it. Maybe an F shot. Maybe an F shot. Maybe. Yeah, maybe there. The doctor's reaction at the end of it all. Okay, F. Yeah, that'll work. $87. I got a lot of things there. Have you ever seen or done things you wish you hadn't? Says the doctor. Dr. Phil, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I wish I hadn't written that I belted Jesse Ventura without getting proper handshake agreement with him ahead of time. And wish I hadn't claimed to shoot those looters in Katrina either. $157.54. It's right, a thing that haunts me. Willing to reap my creator and willing to answer for every shot I took. Thing that haunts me. I gotta look for it again. Thing that haunts me. Interesting movie, interesting scene. Not the greatest thing ever put on film. 187. One minute later, Kyle is exploited. LOL! Because he makes group therapy sessions fun. Mm-hmm. Want to take a walk? So yeah, here he is being exploited. Being exploited for what he's good for, which is why shouldn't he be talking to some of his buds? Why shouldn't he be talking to some of his mates? Early on in the movie, actually, there's a scene where it shows that he won't salute some other dude who salutes him. Some other vet. A wounded vet. It doesn't matter what service you're in, wouldn't you want to salute one another? I don't know. Kyle had some issues. 58-15. It seems evident if I give him the benefit of a doubt that he did exist at all. But what I'm not sure about is that the story we're given about what happened to him, or anything that happened to him, is actually true. Automatically, Gunmo Kyle gets into vet retreats. Vet retreats. Immediately in the movie, he gets into doing good works, going back to his fine Christian upbringing. Yada, yada, yada. Proud sponsor of this film, coming up here in several seconds. Watch for product placement. Do you get it? Do you see it? Product placement. Wow. It's not your average film for the product placement. I will give it that. '91. Damn, I missed my balls. Damn, that don't feel like I got my balls back. Damn. Like that don't feel like I got my balls back. Perfect. 159.40. Damn, I missed my balls. 92 at oh wow, 190, 159, 20 seconds or so. Who's legend now? $192. This is at 2 hours 20 seconds. Oh wow, I put in the wrong number there. Who's legend now? The answer is actually the dude down in Uruguay who shot 16 armed communist guerrillas with his M4 at over 1,400 yards blindfolded. Yeah, I might be making shit up there. Trust me. Who's the legend now? Trust me. Title you don't want. Trust me. I don't know if he was shot in the back or not, but he was definitely shot doing something like this. Trust me is bad screenplay humor for foreshadowing that is cast upon a lampshade. 94. Obligatory I saved a relationship with my son sequence coming up. I don't need to take a lot of sequence shots out of this. I'm going to merely show that it's a quick cut put into the end of the movie. 95, about a minute or 30 seconds later, very similar, and my daughter sequence. That'll do. 195. Hey, see you later, John. Thanks for sticking around. If you're interested in doing this kind of video work, or if you know anybody who is, please let them know about the channel. They might be interested in also watching from time to time. If not, that's cool. If you got any ideas, you got any thoughts, you got any challenges for any random crap I ever spout out, by all means challenge me. I would rather get smarter. 96. Kyle describes himself as a prankster in the book. Coming up here, right about here. Kyle describes himself as a prankster in the book. Kyle describes himself as a prankster in the book. Is this 28? But we need padding that also clearly establishes that she loves him. Uh, 50 seconds. Kyle lectures more than his own dad, who was a deacon. Oh, right here. Kyle lectures more than his own dad, who was a deacon. And son bonding because he's at least twice as important, of course, the son. Got it, Bubba? Coming up next. Refers to his own son as Bubba. After he calls him Bubba, the kid's looking right at him. Got it, Bubba? Good. Now, I hope you'll leave me alone for a little while I watch the rest of this episode of Walking Dead, because I really like Eugene. 20210. 99. Here's an interesting thing. The 99th reason, or 199th reason why it wasn't winning any Oscars. The big day in this whole story is February 2nd, 2013. I kid you not. I had already started using a 5-day calendar by that time, long before that occurred, and my New Year's Day is 01's Day, February 2nd. I'm just throwing that out there. It's a coincidence, a complete coincidence. He picks, or he was killed on, or it all came to a head on New Year's Day. The second date to be explicitly identified on screen. Actually, it might be the first, because I don't even think September 11th was. Oh shit, I hit the wrong one there. 199. $202.19. Yeah, it's about 5 seconds off. That's okay. Second date to be explicitly identified on screen. The events this day are definitely not in the book. Who pays money to be able to protect specific dates and infamy? All right, lobby groups. $202.30. Big old family bonding joke coming up here with that loaded pistol. Big old family bonding joke. Wow, you can't get a bigger family bonding joke about this story than this, can you? Now you drop them drawers. Oh, baby, look at you. Oh, man. Oh, man, you can't make this easier, can you guys? Oh, baby is a minor felony. Sorry. Oh, baby is a minor felony among script writers. But saying look at you twice, see the other time. See 179. Moment of editorialization brought to you by the book, which is right here. Yeah, here we go. Moment of editorialization brought to you by the book. Taya has little sequences in the book too. She does actually have some things which are given from her point of view. Kyle describes a man who kills him. 202:45. Ain't you going to the range? His mama keep asking me. As he's describing the guy who shoots him this moment. Here's the next one. (2:03). Daddy! Daddy! You know, I think he's a little too old to be saying daddy. That's what I'm saying. Now, granted, he hasn't seen his father much, but he's still too old to be saying daddy. He'd be saying dad by now. Come on. Dad's been taking him out hunting, for Christ's sake. Who the fuck are you, Bubba? So, 2:04:15. Poke the bear. Poke the bear! $206 in 1 minute's time. I have to do some marking up on this screen. It would only be fair, I think. This is the last one, God damn it! This is the last. Wicked. Fucking wicked. I left a bunch of comments on my post as well, but I didn't transfer those over yet. Hey, that covers everything in the early part of the video. I don't need to do anything else with this file. It means I could say, sayonara, suckers. I didn't need you anyhow. Hey, and here's the next best thing. This next part of the video editing process won't require a file that's that long either. I would only probably need something which is maybe half that long to go through all that list. 200 items and all those stills, maybe about a project that long. That's what I think. Hey, I'm also ready to take a break because I just punched my way through the entire beginning in 2 hours sitting down without stopping. Got it all done. Woohoo! I'm so happy. The next part is a little less involved, a little less troublesome, a little less picking and poking, and a lot less worry about what anyone's going to say you can or cannot do. So, without further ado, as I get ready for my break, I'm going to resume listening to an open mic set from the Black Sheep last year.
As they say, it's good enough. Thank you.
That's when I last got the clap down there.
For years, I survived on a 4-string banjo. I don't know how I've done it now. I got 2 6-strings in the last 6 months. First one is a 3/4 length. It's for use in busking. I usually busk on the street. So it's for ice fishing is the way I look at it now. I consider busking to be fishing anyway. But this short string banjo, the short neck one, that's for ice fishing. Whereas this new one, this will never go outside in the winter time. This is for fly fishing. If you understand me? Like the other one is ice fishing, but this motherfucker is fly, okay? Lots of salmon. This next one is it's an original lyrics with an old tune. I got rid of all the sectarian violence in the old tune. Because I don't like sectarian violence. Well, my name is Abel Organ, I'm from Grandma Brit. And for 45 years there I got myself fit. I was forced out of fishing back in 92. And I didn't know then what the hell I would do. Faded arranged another fine turn with the old timely passing of the old copy urn. Who left me a letter, some books and a suit, and with that pickle me free and all wooden fruit. Tooralay, tooralay, sure was not even 3 miles from old barrel sleigh. Oh, Ernest, he was known up the coast far and near, and traveled by and by to each come home here. One Mozzie morning, right before he died, he come down to the house and he took me aside. Son, now you're bothering to learn a new trade. For living I burn all the money that I made. The big plays yourself, sir, that's God's honest truth. I want you to inherit my old wooden flute. Tooralay, tooralay, turning wood, the tune that the flute couldn't play. So we took a long weekend to properly grieve. We took 16 beers and big good puzzle skis up to his camper at Barishawbrook, along with the wife and daughter Sunday. Well, I might as well let that old book on the shelf, for the flute knew them better than I know myself. They made me go sleep in this tent and this tent, where I toodled away, served to my heart's content. Tooralay, tooralay, if you want to find dildo, try to me today. So I packed my belongings on the OCN bus, then I took off for St. John's without too much fuss. For I don't own a motorbike, I don't own a car. In the city I saw Shakespeare to take yet the white car. 3 in the morning, the cops came by, with the sirens a screaming at the military. But my lovely neighbors, their babbies, their pets, just to welcome my musical Chinese steps. Tooralay, tooralay, sure you won't play a thing with an orphan like that. That's what the RUC said anyway. I told them to go fuck yourselves. Well, I never considered a life in the arts, but I go with the boys in the lounge playing darts. And here I can float sure my whole life away, with the Grammys, a tune that the flute can still play. I'll never know trouble nor ill-favored dream, or lose all I got on a pyramid scheme. A homeless old tinker with nary a toot, so long as I cherish this old wooden flute. Tooralay, tooralay, sure as 6 miles from Georgetown to French Lauderdale. Tooralay, tooralay, sure as 6 miles from Shea Heights to
That was my plan. This is from a movie. See if you know the movie. Arizona moon keeps shining. I gotta wait till these boys are done. Well, Arizona moon keeps shining on the desert skies above. And though pretty soon there'll be a moon, it's gonna shine its way back to the one you love. The blue shadows on the trail. Little cowboy, close your eyes and dream. All of the doggies are running around. All of your work is done. Close your eyes and dream, little pal. Dream of
And dream. Oh, I'm back. Close your eyes and I'll move this back here a little bit. So I'm looking more at the camera. Hey. Way to mess it up in the end. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No applause, no applause. Just throw money. Yeah, I don't monetize the channel either, by the way. That's a joke. It's a joke for people who might be watching. Peak concurrent says 2. Ah, I might have actually caught a couple. That's very neat. That's very neat. Anyone who happens to be watching, my name is jamespfp. If I've never talked to you before, hi. Welcome to the Banjocast. I am tonight working on a numbered list of reasons of why American Sniper did not deserve any Oscars. I published this as a list, or this list as a note, in February of 2015. Would have been what, 4 Tuesday? Yeah. 4 Tuesday in 2015, 3:33 p.m. Hey, that's one of those times. And when I published it, I had been sitting on this particular list for over a month. In fact, I've been sitting on it for some time. And one of the reasons why I published it, I can take these off now. One of the reasons that I published it was that I recognized at the time there was a discrepancy between the contents of the book and the contents of the movie. This discrepancy bothered me. Bothered me to no end. I endeavored to sit down and work it out as a balance sheet, as it were, on the balance sheet. And when I did, this is the result. Lots of interesting things I noticed throughout my consultation with the film and the book. Some things which were incredibly the same, some things which were not. And I think that the difference between the book and the movie is what practically guaranteed it didn't only deserve any Oscars, but wasn't going to get any. And it's the movie or the production. Maybe I should blame the production production company, in its efforts to garner awards and praise for the book via the movie, they managed to bork it. Oh, and they borked it but good, but they also borked it in a way which is frankly hard to ignore. So rather than ignoring it any longer, I'm going to work now on this particular video project, and I'm going to use Blender to do it. Blender, in case you never heard of it, you can go to blender.org, find out more about it there. It's free, does video editing, does 3D animation, does compositing, does a whole bunch of interesting things, does motion tracking, does camera stabilization, can do a whole bunch of things. But what it won't do is charge you for the software. So if you're looking for a way to work with video information on it cheap, here's one way of doing it. Could go to this one too. Now I've got all the rendering done, probably makes more sense for me to do it this way. I'm taking a wild guess I'm going to need about this long, about an hour, to go through all of those video clips again. And one thing I need to do is to figure out, I could probably record this right now and have it done. Bring the file in. That's probably a good idea. So I'm thinking about is recording an audio file to some device or another, either my phone or I have an audio recorder right here as well. I could talk to this, record my audio file first, get an idea of how long it is before I cut it, or cut it to get an idea of how long I need video information for, and then drop the video in as needed. That'll probably work, yeah. But I'm going to have a snack first. Quite honestly, I'm ready for a snack. Oh, I'm pulling these back on because I'm thinking while I eat and drink a cup of tea, we could probably be doing something a little more productive. Like rebroadcasting something from YouTube. What would I rebroadcast from YouTube? I'd have to go to my own history probably. I wanted to see something that I've already seen. There were some interesting videos that I saw today. Small ones. Some longer, some shorter. I won't be talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi anytime soon. Probably will be seeing it in the theater. Probably won't be talking about it. I heard this some hours ago. This is worth rebroadcasting. Sorry about the ad. Chris Simpson's channel.
It is December 21st, 2017, and today President Trump signed this executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Along with this, he also
Link in the chat.
released an annex to the order which adds 13 specific names that will be affected by the order, that will be punished under the order. At least 2 of these individuals, just through immediately looking through the names, 2 of them have connections to the Clintons or the Clinton Foundation. This was the order itself. It reads, "By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, find that the prevalence and severity of human rights abuse and corruption that have their source in whole or in substantial part outside the United States, such as those committed or directed by persons listed in the annex to this order. They do list 13 individual names. They have reached such scope and gravity that they threaten the stability of international political and economic systems. Human rights abuse and corruption undermine the values that form an essential foundation of stable, secure, and functioning societies, have devastating impacts on individuals, weaken democratic institutions, degrade the rule of law, perpetuate violent conflicts, facilitate the activities of dangerous persons, and undermine economic markets. The United States seeks to impose tangible and significant consequences on those who commit serious human rights abuse or engage in corruption, as well as to protect the financial system of the United States from abuse by these same persons. He says, I therefore determine that serious human rights abuse and corruption around the world constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States, and I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with that threat. They list number of different parts listed in this order.
That's a curious way of putting it. I hereby declare a national emergency or a state of emergency. A national emergency. I hadn't noticed that the first time around, or it didn't sink in. To declare a state of emergency would make more sense. So what does national emergency mean?
Number of different parts listed in this order. Now, going on to the names that were specifically given, this was the annex that was added onto the order. It reads, today the Trump administration launched a new sanctions regime targeting human rights abusers and corrupt actors around the world, building on the global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act passed by Congress last year. President Donald J. Trump signed this executive order today declaring a national emergency with respect to serious human rights abuse and corruption around the world, and providing for the imposition of sanctions on actors engaged in these malign activities. In an annex to the order, the president imposed sanctions on 13 serious human rights abusers and corrupt actors. So they list the following names. Now, among these names, I'm going to point out two individuals in particular. The first, Gulnara Karimova. She is the daughter of former Uzbekistan leader Islam Karimov, who headed a powerful organized crime syndicate that leveraged state actors to expropriate business, monopolize markets, solicit bribes, and administer extortion rackets. This is the connection to the Clintons. The daughter of this Uzbek dictator, Gulnara Karimova, specifically listed in the annex to this order by President Trump today. Washington Examiner article from, I believe this is from 2015. It also names Gulnara Karimova and her connection to the Clintons. This is from the article where they point out Gulnara Karimova, the daughter of this Uzbek dictator, who allegedly boils his political opponents alive, was cited as the single most hated person in the country. Karimova's solution to this unpopularity was revealed in a message from the State Department to the CIA.
Okay. She's the daughter of the dictator who allegedly boils his opponents. She was cited as the single most hated person in the country.
This was to acquaint herself with Bill Clinton in order to gain favor with Hillary Clinton. That process began with Karimova hosting a Clinton Foundation fundraiser in Monaco. She posed for photographs with Bill Clinton that then prompted media reports describing her as a friend of the former president. This is in an attempted PR campaign, basically, to improve her image. Although Karimova was placed under sustained house arrest before the effects of her Clinton connection could be known, they point to this incident as being a rare example in which parties openly acknowledged, quote, what so many foreign oligarchs and interested investors already know, that access to the Clintons can be used by outsiders as a tool to boost their own fortunes. So this could have developed into a conflict of interest. Karamova was put under house arrest before this fully played out. That is one of the names listed in the annex to the order. Now, the second name, Dan Gertler, he is an international businessman and billionaire who has amassed his fortune through hundreds of millions of dollars in corrupt mining and oil deals in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC. Gertler has used his close friendship with DRC President Joseph Kabila to act as a middleman for mining asset sales in the DRC, requiring some multinational companies.
Capricat, Foxwhelp. Capricat and Foxwhelp. Jesus Christ.
To go through Gertler in order to do business with the Congolese state. As a result, between 2010 and 2012 alone, the DRC reportedly lost over $1.36 billion in revenues from the underpricing of mining
properties
assets that were sold to offshore companies linked to Gertler. The failure of the DRC to publish the full details of one of the sales prompted the International Monetary Fund to halt loans to the DRC totaling $225 million. Then in 2013, they add that Gertler then sold to the DRC government for $150 million the rights to an oil block that Gertler purchased from the government for just $500,000.
Hang on a second. He sold it for $150 million when he got for $500,000.
Of $149.5 million in potential revenue.
What a fucking deal.
Gertler has acted for or on behalf of Kabila, helping him organize offshore leasing companies. Some of this corruption was also revealed, again tying back to Glencore and Gertler in November of 2017. The Paradise Papers, this is a set of confidential electronic documents relating to offshore investment, revealed that Glencore loaned $45 million to Gertler in exchange for his help with officials of the Democratic Republic of Congo in negotiations over a joint venture with the state-owned Geka mines at the Kantanja copper mine in 2009. Gertler appears in 120 documents regarding his relationship with Glencore. Glencore, which had effectively taken over Katanga, agreed to vote for the joint venture. The loan document specifically provided that repayment would be owed if agreement was not reached within 3 months. Gertler and Glencore have denied wrongdoing. So Gertler is right in the middle of this ongoing.
That is not Gertler, that's Rich.
Going controversy with Glencore. Previous article also on Glencore, they talk about the wrongdoing by Gertler. They also go further back and look at Mark Rich. They remind us about the previous scandals also involving Glencore, where them being a forerunner company, they have been accused of sanctions busting in Saddam Hussein's Iraq, as well as apartheid in South Africa and Iran. Then in 2004, Glencore was cited by the CIA as having paid $3.2 million in illegal kickbacks in violation of sanctions to Iraq's state-run oil monopoly. It's also been accused of catastrophic environmental pollution, poisoning rivers, and allowing child labor in its African mines. The company has denied all allegations. So Mark Rich of Glencore, he fled the U.S. in 1983. He was indicted on charges of sanctions busting, fraud, and tax evasion, and accused of arms dealing. After years on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, he was pardoned by Bill Clinton,
letting that play in the background,
to whom his family had been a substantial donor. Rich's family was a major donor to the Clintons. He was then pardoned by Bill Clinton in the final hours of Bill Clinton's presidency. bought out the company in 1994, which died in Switzerland in 2013.
Right.
But the firm headquartered in Switzerland has continued to drive hard for exploration and exploitation rights all over the world, particularly in resource-rich, regulation-poor Africa. And for Glencore, when it comes to doing business in the DRC, one man could open all doors, including the highest in the land. Joseph Kabila assumed the presidency in 2001 after his father was assassinated by his bodyguard, but the route to the presidential palace was unchanged. Glencore's key man in DRC was the president's friend, Gertler. So at least two connections in the annex to this executive order. Again, the order is calling to block all property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse. They have those 13 individuals listed currently. Is this the beginning of something bigger? I'll follow up as more information does come out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you could leave a like on this video, that's greatly appreciated. I will check back as information continues to come out. Just a reminder, I'm also...
As I say, there's a link in the description, or there's a link in the chat right now. I'll stick it in the description of this video before I do anything else, simply because I know that's the right thing to do. So there's the link in the description if you're watching after the fact and you want to see more, or you want to repost that perhaps, or you want to see it for yourself in context. Here's another one.
All right, fellow Americans, remember the European Union now, it thinks that it actually has like control over our own tax codes. Like there are global rules,
it's a funny video.
You can't transgress them. You can't reform your tax code. It'll make the U.S. too competitive. Now, first let's look at the hypocrisy here. The European Union here is saying the U.S. can't enact every aspect of this tax reform. For reasons, you know, it prevents multinationals from offshoring enormous sums of money at a whim. It prevents U.S. firms from paying a tax haven tax rate while licensing everything over here and then forcing franchisees in the United States to basically suck them off. So it helps U.S. businesses, it helps the U.S. people, as we've seen with AT&T among other companies. They're feeling the love right now. But trust me, this is going to be like the most popular tax reform passage since the Reagan administration. Trump is going to rise significantly in approval. It's the wallet. It's the money, stupid. It has all this other stuff has become secondary. Because this is a reason that they're about to have a big-ass celebration at the White House.
Agreed.
Just going to be the way that it is. Trump, the hashtag resist people.
I don't know if you've ever seen a game of cards where there's a bit of a question until about halfway through the card game, and then all of a sudden it becomes really clear. So a bunch of the people that are playing, they stop playing hard when they know they've lost. And at the end of the trick is when a lot of the big cards get played anyway, just to...
When they see the next round of bowling, I think that they'll be surprised. But the European Union they never aim this sort of criticism at protectionist nations in the third world. It's just like with human rights abuses. People always call out like the U.S. government, and I do too. When the U.S. government mollycoddles Saudi Arabia, which is one of the world's greatest human rights abusers, while talking about how evil the Iranians are, and that's hypocritical, in all honesty. They call that out, but they're not willing to call out the European Union states for thinking they're so holier than thou, and they're third world tin horn allies and trading partners. No, we'll leave them alone. But we need to talk down to that evil orange bully Trump. And people here who think that they're anti-establishment, again, like hashtag resist people, they don't even realize the real world establishment has become a globalized establishment. It's not even just the U.S. government. It's just like when we criticize Congress or the president or something. That's all well and good, and that's definitely fair. But most of the abuse at this point comes from bureaus. It comes from the heads of bureaus and from their heavily armed, militarized agents and their surveillance state. They're the ones that handle that apparatus. Congress barely knows, I think, at this point what even goes on. Everything's so compartmentalized.
Just because I'm funny like that. I don't know if you watched the stream last night. If you haven't, last night I got to talking about the Trump Disney animatronic. But Sticks took it in a whole other direction this morning. Today, he picked up the ball. Sticks picked up the animatronic ball today.
And so complicated, and so legalistic and classified, and requires, 10
Some of us might have known
to see a single, line that's been unredacted. At this point, even Congress, I think, totally lost control of things. So when this tax reform went through, at first I was like, well, I'm optimistic. It looks good, certainly. Even Trump's opponents, their summation of what it will do, they're like, well, it gives bigger savings to the rich. But if you look at the proportion, it's actually heavily slanted towards the lower rungs. Those are the ones getting the most tax relief. Somebody who's making $1 million a year, they save $10,000. Yeah, that's a lot of money, but at the same time, relative to the amount that they actually pay, it's fairly small. Meanwhile, somebody who makes $25K a year, they're saving $1,000. They're basically not paying anything. It's great for the lower and working and lower middle class. They're getting the bulk of the relief. The middle and upper middle class are getting a fairly good chunk, like I'm getting some. Not as much as if I made half of what I'm making, but it's substantial. People who are rich, they're barely getting anything, just as an absolute number. People don't understand ratios to absolute numbers. It's actually rather sad that mathematics has declined so significantly in this
country. I kind of agree with you, Sticks.
People just gobble up the propaganda swill. But who died and made the European Union king over our fiscal policy? If you don't like the fact, if you think we're going to become too competitive for you, if you want to whine, so, well, the big bad U.S. will steal our jobs, basically. Why don't you become more competitive too? Why don't you deregulate and cut taxes? That's a great idea. I think there was a time, I think it was
not that long ago,
during the days of the Homestead Act, I believe, if I remember correctly. Back during the 1800s, there was a time when people fled Europe for the United States specifically because they're like, the rent is too damn high. We can't.
I was thinking about that when I heard this morning, and you know what? I didn't leave him a comment for once. The comment is this: fleeing Europe to get away from another dumb European war. That's a big reason for North American immigrants to come to North America. For people from Europe to come to North America to get away from another dumb European war would have been a big reason.
Get ahead here. There's no opportunity. Everything's already dense and filled up. What the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm living on my same family farm, and as the population increases, it keeps getting divided more and more, but there's no opportunity.
The problem with the mark.
Opportunity for upward mobility. I can't, become a merchant or anything. It took
according to Marx, I mean. 5
generations for some halfway skilled European to build up enough money.
Sorry, according to Engels.
So that their great-great-great-grandchild, if everything went perfectly, could go maybe get a halfway decent education and rise up to the middle class. That's why people left Europe in the first place. That's what Europe is like now again today. For a while it wasn't. When there was a big bad USSR to fight, people sort of ignored these things and worked harder, and governments had a reason to provide some mobility so people wouldn't be demoralized, and we could set ourselves apart from those rust bucket commies over there that have constant misery and breadlines. Once they collapsed, it seemed that we lost our collective will to even bother existing as a Western civilization. We don't even fucking care anymore. Screw mobility, globalism is inevitable, we're just slaves, oh well, get over it, at least I've got a nicer gilded cage than my neighbor. Well, that's not exactly the world I want to live in. It folds over into the internet. Look, the EU says, well, mean, abusive trolls from the United States online, we gotta muzzle them. Meanwhile, you don't have any problem with blasphemy laws in the world, the fact that women are treated as property in half the fucking countries in the world. Tin horn dictators slaughtering their own people, genocide and ethnocide. Those aren't problems. Don't talk about those. Don't talk about some latent communist movement killing 10,000 people in Burma. Don't talk about xenophobic attacks in India or Pakistan. Those aren't problems to the bigwigs at the EU who are so high and mighty, so moral, so absolutely virtuous because, they're Europeans, so that somehow makes them special. By the way,
animatronic Obama was in France for the last election.
They only have a problem with it if it's over here. And it's much more, it's people with ideological beliefs, or they say something that's offensive, so we need to throw them in the gulag, says Angela Merkel, but just ignore all of our trading partners abusing collectively tens of millions of people. That's okay. Perfectly fine. We're not going to say a word about it. Absolute hypocrisy. By the way, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I mean, I like my European fans too. I have no problem with the European people, and I have no problem with the European nations. Like the national governments over there.
It's the nations, you know, if I wanted to live there, I would.
Typically are better. I'm talking mainly about the EU and the handful of people like a Merkel or what's his name, Macron, or whoever the hell runs France at this point. These are your abusers. They're abusing you, and now these same people are sad because our tax reform bill will keep them from abusing us. There's a reason, I think we all understand why there was a Brexit. There's a reason why increasing numbers of Eastern Europeans want to leave the EU now too. There's an increasing tide against the EU because of post-national governance is abusive. It's become stupid and inefficient. It's strangulating your economy. We're saying we're no longer going to play by those rules and strangulate our economy. Good for us. Yeah, we're standing up to the bully. By the way, we're the military superpower.
By the way,
we've got the bigger military. We've got the bigger economy. To hell with the EU's rules. Who fucking cares? We'll work closer with China. You know, you only
he tells the truth there, though, doesn't he?
Only have a problem with human rights abuses if it's someone saying something offensive in the Western world. You apparently don't.
Pixels. Pixels. China, pixels. They're working on a whole other type of digital currency.
Care about, you know, suicide nets on Chinese factories. I haven't heard the EU say a jack shit.
You can't do the suicide. What did they do in the jails? I wonder to stop suicides.
About that. Well, we might as well just work with China then, I guess.
Or you can't go out onto the building and actually throw yourself off, you know?
I mean, at least you'll tolerate one side of our trade deal. You don't have a problem with their protectionism. You don't have a problem with central planning in parts of the Eastern world. You don't have any problem with it, unless one of those countries is too friendly with Trump, I guess. Like, he's got you all out of sorts. I don't understand it. How can one man be so powerful that he gets all of the European Union up in arms by passing tax reform, of all things?
It's funny. It is funny. He asked a very good question. And I tell you, I have to admit something. I downloaded Saturday Night Live this last week, and I watched the first... wasn't even 90 seconds before I said enough of this shit and deleted it.
By the way, this isn't going to make the EU look more popular. Look, Europeans, you need to heed this message here. The European Union is now saying that it's bad for Americans on the other side of the Atlantic to have more of their own money. That it's bad for them to make more money. Don't you think they have the same mentality when it comes to you? They're globalists. They want to rule the world. Angela Merkel wants to be the Führer of the entire world.
He throws his arms up. I love it. Just watch.
The European Union is now saying that it's bad for Americans on the other side of the Atlantic to have more of their own money. That it's bad for them to make more money. Don't you think they have the same mentality when it comes to you? They're globalists.
They're globalists. Merd.
They want to rule the world. Angela Merkel wants to be the Führer of the entire world.
Merd.
They're the real imperialists. They're not even like the nationalists. The nationalists are like, oh, we want to reign over our traditional cultural core or something, and then maybe invade one of our neighbors. The globalists are like, no, there can be individual nations. They're not going to have any real power. They're going to be vestigial. They'll just be figureheads. And it'll take them 20 years to leave our union, and we'll probably march in and slaughter everyone before they do that anyway. I'm surprised that they haven't suggested invading the UK at this point, almost. I'm almost surprised. You know, it's obvious they're going to rake them over the coals and abuse them as much as possible. No, poor Nigel Farage. You know, he gets his Brexit, and then because Theresa May is so weak, he comes out and says, well, yeah, I see that we have successfully humiliated ourselves. Like, now we can go and get the next round of humiliation done with. It's pretty sad. You should just say, to hell with you, start violating their rules that a women refuse to acknowledge their legal decisions. Man, we're not part of the EU anymore. Fuck off. We're not under any contracts with you. Screw you. We're not paying you a cent. The rest of the world should pressure the EU. What the world should do, instead of getting together under an involuntary collective, instead of globalism, there should be globalization of cooperation instead, and it should be voluntary. The countries should get together and prevent multinational groups from springing up. All countries should prevent multinational, like tax haven bullshit, so that everyone can compete fairly, hopefully with a maximum of actual competition. Right now, of course, competition appears to be outlawed in the European Union. I wonder why you have fiscal problems. I wonder why so many people over there are like, yeah, you know, the socialist system is fine, but I mean, you can't get ahead. You know, they still go to the United States or some other country. People move to fucking China to open a business. That's how bad it is in some of these countries, so strangulated. You know, you talk to people in Europe, a lot of them aren't a happy bunch. You know, some things are definitely really great about Europe, you know. Some of the healthcare systems there are fine, and certainly you got some good cuisine, but then you get all these cultural problems. It's like, why the hell, if the EU can't manage its conglomerate of nations, why should we listen to it? It's not enlightened. It's not unabusive. It's not moral or virtuous. It's just a collective of politicians, stuffed shirt bureaucrats that'll grow more corrupt over time because they're like ticks. They're like leeches or fleas. That's exactly, we have the same problem with our own bureaucracy, and we're...
It's okay, here we go. He's being very clear that he's not trying to dehumanize anybody. He's characterizing the nature of bureaucracy. Yes. Yes. Characterizing the nature of bureaucracy by describing it as a parasitic, vestigial form.
Just one nation. We're not even a conglomerate. So, yeah, it's a problem when the EU is saying, "Ooh, our tax reform is against the law." Who fucking cares about your laws? We're not Europe. The United States. We're removed from you by the Atlantic Ocean. We're not on the same continent.
I was reading something today. I don't know if I should read it out over the camera or over the microphone. It really doesn't matter too much, but it does matter a little. This is the sort of thing that might trigger sticks, actually. I'm not trying to say anything positive at all about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but I was reading this today. Combing the Washington jungle for people who had access to state secrets and who were willing to sell them, either for the love of Hitler or the love of money. Thompson succeeded in stirring up a number of stringers, far better posted than the gregarious Miss Fairney, and closer to the corridors of power even than Viereck and his political hacks. This is from the book The Game of the Foxes by Ladislas Frago. It was released, if I'm not mistaken, 73. Let me double check. Bantam edition that I'm reading from is 73. It was released in 71 first. This is from the chapter House on Massachusetts Avenue. We're talking about Dr. Sorry, I don't know if it's Dr. Thompson or not. Thompson is the guy who's at the German embassy in Washington. And they're running spy rings before the United States has entered the war, according to Frago's account of what had happened. And Frago worked as a journalist and released this book in the 70s. One of the most important among them was a friend of Attorney General Homer S. Cummings, who is at the same time my reliable confidant. Thanks to this agent, he procured a mass of hard intelligence, including considerable information about what was going on at cabinet meetings. On June the 11th, 1940, for example, Thompson enlightened Berlin with some of the president's innermost thoughts on the basis of a conversation the Attorney General had had with the president. The report, paraphrasing one given him by his reliable confidant, quote unquote, read as follows. Number 1, in the present war situation, the president will use every legal trick in order, by circumventing the neutrality law, to furnish the Allies with every possible material help. Number 2, should the war last long enough to make it possible to build up American armaments and the American army, he will place both on the side of the Allies. Number 3, should the war end within a short period, and with the defeat of England and France, then America would be sweet and polite towards Germany for 2 years, quote unquote. During these years, quote, be sweet and polite towards Germany for 2 years, quote unquote. During these years, America would build up her Army, Navy, and Air Force regardless of cost and waste. Number 4, nature of bureaucracy. Anybody? Number 4, should Germany at any time attack Canada or the West Indian possessions of England or France, this would mean immediate war with Germany, irrespective of the state of American rearmament. Number 4 is the Monroe Doctrine. It pertains to this hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere. Like the Western Hemisphere North America. North, South America, the Caribbean, the Atlantic Ocean, parts of the Pacific. Should Germany at any time attack Canada or the West Indian possessions of England or France? This would mean immediate war with Germany, irrespective. The Monroe Doctrine is not named, but that's the reason. Which is what Styx just reaffirmed. Fuck with us over here, and by the Monroe Doctrine you will be slapped down, even if it's Canada.
Leave us alone. If you want to have non-compete between your nations and strangle yourselves, okay. Obviously, Americans are getting a little tired of that. The people of the Rust Belt largely are the ones that decided that they wanted...
Even if it's Mexico, even if it's Colombia, even if it's Brazil, even if it's Argentina.
This kind of reform, exactly. Good. Yeah, saved by Michigan. Yeah, God help us all, I suppose. That's about all.
I went through the ABC countries in South America. They are in reverse order, in case you noticed. There are other ones. Venezuela's there. Venezuela's a big one. Venezuela is huge. Let's not forget it. How to spot a confidence trickster. We don't need to go over that one, I don't think. But if you haven't heard yet, that might be a fun one to watch. I'm interested in a Lionel video. It's not this one. It's this one. I stopped watching this at a specific time.
People need to know. I don't know what you need, but...
Let's go back here a little bit.
There. Just walk away from it. Whether we're talking about...
This is a rebroadcast, obviously. Copy. I mean, not now, but what I'm doing is rebroadcasting information from other sources on YouTube. Lionel makes his content available after even if he's on TV, which is pretty nice of him. I've got an explicit time linked on there. It may be the incorrect time. We'll go over the time here now in the stream. Hey, listen to this.
Vegas or the California fire.
I had to laugh actually when I was listening to it. At some point in this panel discussion or this double-on discussion, we should start at the beginning.
I was told that
Lionel explicitly says,
wanted to talk about...
I'm a retired Catholic. What does that mean?
California fires, Las Vegas, and UFOs. The only thing I can think of, Lionel, is you're going to give us a Mars attack review. What is the common thread? I'm sure you see something common in here. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to talk about none again. Again, the most arcane musical referencing ever. Steelers Wheel, Jerry Rafferty. He played Horse with No Name. Remember when that one came out when you were first trying to figure out? I thought it was...
No.
With a song to nowhere. What the hell is this? Plays E minors. Enough about me. David.
It does have a common thread there, doesn't it?
I'm going to skip till I find what I want.
And by the way, how about Jennifer Gormley? This poor...
Yes.
Your assistant, you've got her chained and narcotized. She's me out of here. We're under a 97,000...
Had her chained to the table for the last 34 hours.
The Zetas are trying to get people he's trying to break them out. They understand, look, we understand manipulation of human spirit, but this man, I mean, my God, does he have any... Go ahead, Owen. I've been here for 20... I'm talking the same stuff. Shut up! Do it! Take your life force and keep your mouth shut. All right. Couple of things here. First...
We couldn't do it without those great supplements. That's right. Couldn't do the 34-hour podcast.
You know what my favorite one is when Alex does the kind of... You might not want to take a whole tablet. Blue Steel, cat cracker. I'm just telling you. Periscope. A couple of things. First and foremost, the fires in Northern California.
Right. He's been trying to get to this point. It's taken him 3 minutes. It was 2.5. It's going on 3.
No-cal fires, okay?
This is like a game of hockey, which is one-on-one hockey, and it takes that fucking... Like, they're in hockey gear. They're both goalies.
Everybody's saying, whoa, wait a minute, hold it.
I was... Jesus, baseball's faster.
They were zoomed in. They looked at the areas. Citizen journalism, better than ever. Actually saying, look, the trees that surrounded these houses, they were saved. Look, in an hour, porcelain, glass, molten steel, all melted. There were people who posited connections just between Agenda 21
Lots of ways of looking at that one. One is future, FEW, future, less people future. Agenda 21. Another way of looking at it is, and I left this as a comment on one of his previous videos. I'm not the only person to think like this, but if the value of the property, which has mysteriously been reduced to specific ash, if the value of the property is worth more in the books than it is in reality, then
direct energy weapons, lasers, and the like. Look, I'm not saying that's true.
I've seen those pictures. They are very amazing. As a matter of fact, I was tempted to take it down and talk to some firefighters that just didn't have time to do that kind of on-the-ground reporting. I haven't seen any firefighters talk about that, but I mean, it is amazing to see these trees, as you point out, that are green, and yet you've got concrete buildings or whatever melted down into ash in the midst of all these trees that didn't catch fire. Really strange.
And interesting what is left. It's funny how avionics, a lot of military industrial complex type of factories are left. All I'm saying,
the regions that didn't burn, the regions that were protected,
is that's number one. Okay, terrific. Then we have another derailment. Okay, look, I've got news for you. But if I went to somebody from another planet, some Venusian who says, you know, we calculated that there are at any given time, I don't know how many thousands of trains running who, believe it or not, Alex, sometimes they take those curves a little fast. Sometimes they're a little distracted.
Sometimes.
And the odds of this, whenever it goes up, it's still, they have figured out a lot of things, but, and I'm no expert, but then somebody says, whoa, wait, look at this. Antifa said they were going to target this rail right here, and look, we have saved the tweet. Hey, Twitter, you know how you want to shut down everybody's Twitter tweet about, I don't know, pro-Trump? Would you maybe bring that one back? Oh, no. Because you see, Twitter, it just so happens these people, these Antifa folks, actually predicted this. Oh, no. Twitter, this is good. You can help the police. Okay, that's that. David, Las Vegas. We just forgot about Las Vegas? That's just it. You got Mike.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's gone.
You got Mike, the fellow from, what's his name? The Vitamin Mike, who does this incredible breakdown of the sounds of this, the sonic analytical. There's two shooters. We forget about that. I'm still trying to figure out chemtrails, believe it or not, in a kind of a weird, kind of a directed energy, kind of a dome of aluminum. Look, make a long story short, let me stop right there. This is what the American mainstream media say. I don't know. Remember,
a fair enough point at the end of the day.
David, when Columbo first came out, Columbo was so fantastic. And Columbo was a great show. And
it's one of my favorite things in the last when I started doing a lot of streaming, it was the Columbo impersonation. It's worth doing.
And he would wow, look at this. And no clue, if we did Columbo today, like this, sir, did you know who killed your wife? Nobody investigates?
Stop and turn around and go, oh, one more thing.
Now, stop. I want everybody to listen to me right now. Let's change the facts. Assume, as we say in law,
let's change the facts.
Arguendo. Assume that a group called not Antifa, because that's associated with Soros and lefty
Antufas
and all that kind of stuff. But let's just assume instead there was a group of people that were associated with Trump, right wing, somebody the Southern Poverty Law Center identified, somebody else. Let's say
Antufas.
They were the group versus Antifa. Okay. You know that Don Lemon and these people would have been all over this. Let's assume it was the some right-wing Cliven Bundy,
Let's just say it was a KKK.
KKK, David Duke, Jared Kushner, and just anybody else. You would have seen Columbo put to shame. But because we say, don't bring up anything about Las Vegas. Yeah, but Mike Adams, I don't care about Mike Adams, just let it go. Okay, Northern California fires. I asked somebody this question the other day, and I'm not an expert, but I'm kind of like Columbo. I just ask simple things. Remember, jurors aren't experts either, David.
Columbo frankly badgered people. That's how I heard it described once, and he's correct. He would ask so many questions and let them feel the tension, the building tension of the question that they don't want to get asked. And when he said, well, that's enough, I'll leave you alone, walked away, and then, oh, by the way, then that would be popped out.
When they're asked to determine the fate of human beings. But if I said, do you mean to tell me that with all of these satellites that are out there, these satellites that, remember one time Bin Laden supposedly said,
You know, I heard back from my dry cleaner.
Before he died 10 years before, Marfan syndrome, but I digress.
He said the strangest thing.
But Bin Laden apparently said something like, we even took our radium dial watches off because the satellites can read and locate. Okay, with all of the satellites, you mean nobody's figured out a way that says, hey, listen, guys, if ever you find a heat source over X thousand degrees, zoom in, pick up the phone, we'll have a plane there, we'll dump water on it. We're not going to let it go to an acre. You just let us know, move the satellites right here because these are where the fires are. This is the email I got, David. Oh, no, you know. No, these things move quickly. Well, why? Where? Why did 5 different fire sources burn like that? I mean, wow, you see, and then normal people.
You know what he said there? He said exactly what I heard there. How many individual fires were involved? You heard it. I heard it. Won't be forgetting. That's how many. That's all it took, and it was pretty fucking surgical in that regard.
People, whereas you and I ask questions, my friends answer questions. Well, you see, the reason, thank you, Red Adair. Remember him? Oh, you're next now on fires. Well, see, these things are very dry. Yes, I understand how they flourish. So all I'm saying is, you have all of these people out there catching all this great B-roll, and not one person asks about any kind of perhaps reason for this, anything.
In the Weinstein article, podcast went through 5 hours yesterday. Boy, he said bad luck, right? Bad luck in insurance terms. Where do you find bad luck in your insurance? You don't. You find acts of God if you're lucky. And then you got to kind of chuckle because an act of God, they'll try to get out of it if they can. They will try to get out of the bad luck if they can.
It's about some of these anomalies. Stay with us. We'll be right back. When we move that thing, and then they move us on to the next one.
But we also don't follow up. And by the by, before we let this...
We all, moving on to the next thing, we also don't follow up. Here comes the actual important part, and watch how Lionel goes from on the ropes to on the attack.
Go. Look, I'm a retired Catholic. I
am a retired Catholic.
No problems with or against the Catholic Church.
No problems with or against.
I had great nuns and great teachers and great priests.
He had a perfect experience with them. Do you believe him?
Never was touched, slapped, spanked, nothing. I've got no problem with them.
I'm not sure I believe him there. The third one is provisionally granted for the length of this discussion.
No, really, never. But what is with Bergoglio, this Pope? You're going to give Cardinal Law a full...
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind? Look, You can do whatever you want. Sometimes they say, should this mafia don receive a Catholic funeral? Well, he did some good, and I'm not going to tell the church what to do, but...
He sleeps with the fishes.
You know how bad this PR is? I mean, do you?
Oh, yeah.
This Bernard Law, you shipped them out to...
I can play that. I can totally play that song. I got a mind to go get the banjo.
Rome to basically save his life? And you're going
to
give him,
full
military,
day,
21...
One mile of sun.
They've taken Cardinal Pell, who was what? He was like number 2 or 3 at the Vatican. He's gone back to Australia to answer crimes there because they were statute of limitations for pedophilia. So it's kind of interesting to see how this happens. When the Pope came to the U.S., the last stop that he had was up in Philadelphia, where they had this same type of situation. It might have been the same cardinal. I forget what the guy's name was, but he...
Funny, right? So we know that there's these big scandals. I guarantee you, one of the names here in Newfoundland won't ever be forgotten. Everybody still tells jokes involving one person's name.
Had been moved to Florida, and the Pope brought him back for
at least one person. I mean,
Families United or something. It's like, Families United, why don't you take care of these pedophiles or these people in the structure who've been, moving them around like a shell game, to hide them from accountability.
It's horrible.
It's amazing.
Horrible and despicable when they're talking about they were going to excommunicate Teddy Kennedy years ago. Big deal, but for his stance on abortion. And no, what do you got to do to get excommunicated in this group? I mean, covering up for pedophilia. Yeah. But David, before we forget, listen, I know you don't make a big deal out of UFOs. I don't know.
So, I'm going to ask you, on the ropes or not, because he's a retired Catholic, and is he not now on the attack? Because he's switching from one topic, which involves the value of faith, long-term faith, because he was the same guy who was saying Catholics should be out in the streets marching against this kind of thing. He was the one saying that. Here he is now going to the aliens argument.
Editorial thing, maybe that's your stuff. But they're here. I don't know what people need to know. I don't know what you need. But people that I know who believe in anything, who actually have not aluminum foil, tin foil, actual, you've got tin foil still? They believe in everything, but when it comes to UFOs, oh, come on, stop it. Look.
No, actually, I do believe in extraterrestrials.
Of course, my gosh. I'm not saying that they don't exist. I'm saying that they're going to this particular argument for a very specific reason. This is the type of metadata which involves their specific reason. They're obviously not dreaming. They're obviously, well, they might be on drugs, but I don't think it's the thing which determines the metadata in this case. Interesting, right? Religion, faith, and these two being interchangeable. Important point, I think. Wow.
My name is H.A. Goodman. I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. To support this
He's had a busy week as H.A.
YouTube channel, go to my Patreon link below in the description section. Subscribe to this channel. We're on our way to 100,000 subscribers. My book's debunking the Trump-Russia myth, but her top secret emails has over 100 5-star reviews, but her deleted emails, I think it's like 36 5-star reviews out of 36 reviews. And my other books are below. You will love them. Check them out. Book 5 it will be the best.
He's got the flu.
Book 5. What do we have here? No condemnation. No people asking to disavow. Just, sorry. Could you imagine if a right-wing pundit, or a conservative pundit, I should say,
of his stature,
that
of the buffalo's stature, yes,
women are genetically flawed because they don't want to have sex often enough. Kyle Kulinski, Sam Cedar, David Packman, Janky Uger, John Idarola, all of them would touch themselves in ecstasy, get on their pedestal made of hypocrisy and
bang away
refuse, and talk about how they're so much more pure, and how this is typical of the right wing, and that they're so much better because they're liberals. Oh, sorry, it was Janky Uger, and all he had to do was apologize. So, you're not going to get Justice Democrats
of course
to talk about anything going on with the Young Turks.
Chinkity chink chink.
Or Calico.
Tap dancing buffalo right on the edge of the cliff. Dancing the buffalo dances on the edge of the cliff dance.
Linsky talking about any of this, you're never going to get any of that, because if it's too close to home, they sanction it, they're okay with it, they look the other way. That's why they don't run by a value system. If they did, they would have commented. Either defend Jordan Sheridan or state otherwise. Who knows if Jordan Sheridan is guilty or innocent?
Sheridan must have been one of the ones who edited him.
We don't know. But at least
This is funny. If they all kill one another, if they all backstab one another, it would be entertaining to watch.
Not even forget about the sexual assault allegations. They wouldn't even comment.
See, if they were engaged in a conspiracy with one another, the likelihood of them all backstabbing one another at some point or another is really, really high.
Cenk, you were fired.
Cenk, being a lawyer, he might even know this, right? And that's why he's trying to play it that way.
Firing Jordan Sheridan. That's how weak and
He'll
pathetic
bleed.
people are. But you have to give money to Justice Democrats and to
And get
Young
paid
Turks.
back.
And they run on donations. And the Young Turks founder, okay, so let's just go ahead with this. Young Turks founder Cenk Uygur apologizes for ugly and sensitive old blog posts. So I guess if you're a liberal pundit, and by the way, for most of my life, I consider myself liberal or progressive. And I don't anymore. I'm just an American citizen. In terms of policies, yeah, I lean towards progressive policies. But in terms of politics and the duplicity and the disingenuous nature of liberal, it's like cult.
I think I have to admit something to you. When you get to the point of seeing through certain glasses that most things around you are cult-like, it's arguable that you become a nihilist. But most of the time, like the term anarchist, nihilists are misunderstood, misconstrued, and forced to play a certain role in order to fit into what people's idea of a nihilist is. But when you see that there's no difference between one side and the other side, when you recognize that it's so much political theater, you can forget the poses, remove. If you can imagine them without their costumes and without the makeup, you see they're all the same. In that sense, it's nihilism.
It's like a cult politics. Or this notion that you have to just explain how horrible people on the right are, because they're all sexist and racist and promote rape culture. But if it's Cenk Uygur doing it, well then no problem. All he has to do is apologize. Just an apology. Well, let's find out what Cenk Uygur actually stated. Did he apologize? What is he apologizing for? Okay, my last segment I talked about it a little bit. Young Turks creator and host Cenk Uygur made multiple graphic and disparaging remarks. This is San Francisco Gate, sfgate.com. Young Turks creator and host Cenk Uygur made multiple graphic and disparaging remarks about women in his early days as a blogger. Oh, no problem. No problem.
Early days as a blogger?
He's not conservative, so we don't have to. He's not Trump, so it's okay. He says the right things. And he's built a neoliberal brand that funnels outrage into voting for Clinton. No problem. Including saying women are genetically flawed because they don't want to have sex often enough.
Ah, right. I kind of remember that one.
Could you imagine the same people calling others, even Jews, even Jewish people online, Nazi, you're a Nazi, you're a fascist. I think actually this is a Nazi and fascist thing to say, that women are genetically inferior. Genetically flawed because they don't want to have sex often enough.
Ooh, baby.
He apologized? Oh, no problem.
And if we have a way, we will be correcting this in the laboratory.
If he apologized, what's the problem? It's not like he's a conservative who could never apologize.
I see it's really only a simple matter. We'll sit down and have a look at what we can do epigenetically. It's very good, Mr. Disney, that you had me frozen.
I'm not defending crazy things conservatives say. My point is that you would never just allow, if you're a liberal pundit, you would never allow conservatives to just apologize. Just apologize. The Rap found blog posts from early 2000s and online archives. In an interview with The Rap, Uygur apologized and said he deleted the ugly posts a decade ago because I don't stand by them. Oh, well, that's really good of you, Cenk. As long as you deleted them and don't stand by them. It's funny because the Young Turks brand...
Wait, hang on a second now. When he wrote this stuff on his blog, was he working as a lawyer then?
Would never be as generous to anyone who made those statements. Let's talk about the stuff I wrote back then was really insensitive and ignorant. If you read that today, what I wrote 18 years ago, he was an adult 18 years ago. The guy's like, what, 40-something? Or what, 50? I don't know.
50-something.
And you're offended by it.
Well, he must be 40s, maybe late 40s. Surely he must be 52.
100% right. So, okay, so he goes ahead and says, in an entry from 2000, Uyghur complained about not having sex while living in Miami. It seems like there is a sea of tits here. And
Sorry, I mean, I got nothing to laugh at. I've never spent any time in Miami. But man,
I'm drinking in tiny droplets.
Poor bastard's only 4 foot fuck all already. You can't help it.
Dive into the whole goddamn ocean. Obviously, the genes of women are flawed. They are poorly designed creatures who do not have...
Oh, the projection, you can just feel it from here.
sex nearly
I'm not talking about HA either, I'm talking about check.
often as needed for the human race to get along peaceably and fruitfully.
Fruitfully for multiplication purposes.
It's not the fact that he apologized. Fine, apologize. No one's perfect. But your entire brand is pontificating. You have a glass house made of brittle, broken glass.
And buffalo bones, man.
And you are throwing...
He's gonna pour us.
Stones every day. The Young Turks. All of them. I love Jimmy Dore. And I don't mean, when I talk about the Young Turks, I'm not going after Jimmy. I love Jimmy Dore. But you have these people who, they pontificate, but when it comes to their own little tiny house...
It's time for me to go to bed soon.
They don't say anything. Women, ignore these at your peril. There must be some serious making out by the third date. If I haven't felt your tits by then, things are not about to last much longer.
Wow, he's trying to let them know what the male point of view is, or something. That's what his expectations are.
In fact, if you don't get back on track by the fourth date, you're done.
Oh.
There must be orgasm by the fifth date.
What?
What if a conservative wrote this? Oh my God.
By the fifth date, there must be an orgasm. Oh my God, Chink.
Oh my God, they would go nuts. At one point, Dave describes chatting up some underage teenage girls who he called, quote, whores in training. I mean, it's like... So then he goes after Trump, which, I don't defend. The Trump's statements were crazy but it was like, yeah, I grabbed him by it's like, that's crazy. But Cenk Uygur is literally saying, I had one of the best nights of my life in Mardi Gras. I kissed over 23 different women.
Hey, kissed over 23. So 24? Or you lost count? Or he's too drunk to remember? 23. 23? Cenk is not only behaving badly, but he's throwing these gang signs around.
Felt countless breasts. Well, how do we know that the countless breasts that you felt, the women were okay with that? And was in a wonderful drunken stupor thanks to my friend.
Answers the question. Lost count.
Okay. Then
Or I actually didn't count 23 in the first place. That was a hyper-inflated estimation. And he was too drunk to remember.
I kissed over 23 different women, saw and felt countless breasts.
Whoa.
Again.
Countless. Who's counting?
It's not...
It's like you heard me that time.
I'm not judging him morally. What I'm saying is... If you condemn Trump for what he said, how are we to know that the countless breasts you felt up, Jake Uger,
and not a pussy,
involved women who were okay with that? You actually admit here in this post. And he's
tits, ass, couple kisses, but you know what? Cenk just doesn't seem to get in there for the pussy.
So, and then you know, whatever. They don't care. They don't run by a value system. If a conservative said this, it's like, and that's really the point. Aside from you know, some really disgusting statements he's made, and then we have. I mean, I was gonna go ahead and use different audio from like play, but all they do is pontificate.
Why would I?
It's just, it's unbelievable. Then you have the comment about the Native Americans. Hold on. He goes on and on. There's so many nasty comments here.
H.A. reads fast.
Uger still makes comments that make female staffers uncomfortable. Cenk is a knucklehead. He's a boy. He talks about women the way I talked when I was 13. He said he's obsessed with body count. Basically, how many people you fucked. This is an important number to him.
Body count. Bean counter as well. Bean counter. Who uses that one, huh? When was the last time I heard bean counter pulled out? Body count, bean counter. Team affiliation. Cenk might have worked with some contractors who are ex-military.
So it's like he does a million Loser Donald videos. Hold on. So this one doesn't go into the racist comments he made. There's a True Pundit article talking about how, I think, don't quote me on this, from what, well, read the True Pundit article, but there are some racist comments he makes. So you can make racist, sexist comments promoting rape culture, and nobody on the left will condemn you. You will still have your show. You're fine. You're fine. And then if Sam Cedar gets fired, Kyle Kulinski will be like, charge! Charge! We have to go ahead and protect Sam. This is horrible from the alt-right. We must fight the alt-right. Yeah, but what about Cenk Uger saying women are genetically inferior? What? Oh, no problem. No problem on that. That's okay. And then, jeez. Hold on, just do a word search for breasts. Okay, there you go.
I love that friggin' tune.
Again, if the women were okay with it, great. But how do we know? His whole argument with Trump is...
How do we know? How do we know that the women weren't into it? If they were really that into it, perhaps they would still be into it. And evidently, he does not have a harem, so...
Oh my God, look what Trump did. He's touching women, and he admitted to sexual assault. I kissed over 23 different women, saw and
and counted and felt countless breasts.
If this...
Of course!
I should say, if this... It's an sfgate.com. If this blog post is definitely attributed to Cenk Uger, and he apologized for it, so I guess it's already a done deal in terms of what he... I had one of the best nights of my life in Mardi Gras. I kissed over 23 different women. I saw and felt countless breasts, and was in a wonderful drunken stupor thanks to my friend. Okay. So you're okay with that?
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, progressive. I don't know. People who think Trump is a bore. Oh, he's such a bore.
Yeah, he drinks with 2 hands, for Jesus' sake. Look at this.
He's so disrespectful.
Oh, man, so do I. Fuck.
But you're okay with. So he didn't say, so Trump said I grab women by the pussy.
You know what's funny is the next time anyone sits down, anyone who happens to be female perhaps, sits down with a mug and holds it upside down to keep their hands warm against the warm mug, they're going to have to think to themselves, fuck, I can't do this anymore or I look like Trump.
He didn't say I saw and felt countless. If Trump said that he saw and felt countless breasts, the media, their heads would...
They'd be going around with their shirts torn off. Damn it. Trump, could you please try to say something like that? Trump, would you please? Just for a joke? Pussy merch, that. All right.
Explode. But if it's Janky or Grand, no problem.
Jank's like, of course!
He only has 3 million subscribers on YouTube.
Only.
And, you know...
And he only paid for 2 million of them. It was such a deal.
Probably one of the biggest voices for either... I don't know.
If we take away the bots and the sock accounts, HA, seriously though, 2 million, you can kiss those goodbye.
He's very influential in liberal and progressive politics. And to see a complete lack of condemnation when if...
He didn't wear a condom? Complete lack of condemnation.
Mike Cernovich or anyone else on the right said this, or conservative, any other conservative, Mike Cernovich, anyone else said this, oh my God, you would see they're pontificating and all of this.
Doesn't wear a condom.
In a post archived in 2003, he wrote about carousing with numerous women in New Orleans while drunk. I had one of the best nights of my life at Mardi Gras. I kissed over 23 women. Saw and felt countless breasts.
Probably a lie because it's 23. The statistical likelihood of the number 23 being invented to sound convincing is really high.
And it was in a wonderful drunken stupor. So you were in a drunken stupor, Jank, and you're feeling countless breasts.
Factorial number. 23 plus 1.
Well, isn't that worse than what Trump said? Or the same? At best.
In fact, it's actually very, very likely that a human being could maintain 23 relationships. Like as a member of a caste or something.
It's the same. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere.
Thanks, HA. I probably will. I do believe that was going to bring me to the end of my broadcasting activities for today. If you've been watching me here, it's the Banjocast. I've got a video project which I've been working on. It involves a movie called American Sniper, if you haven't heard of it yet. It was released a couple years ago. It garnered a lot of attention. It involves a lot of key issues. And I did a lot of the work required in the Banjocast the last 2 sessions. So whenever I pick that up, I guess it's going to be this afternoon. I'm going to be doing the voiceover part, how to record the voiceover and how to put it into a project. So, thanks for watching. James PFP here, signing out. Catch the Banjocast sometime later. Subscribe below. Leave me a comment. I'll talk